the main goal as an artist is to find your own way instead of like copying something. Boom, 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 all night long. You know, it's not for me. Optimizing stuff, it's the killer. You want to be a DJ, yeah, but first you have to be interested in music, you know.
You just released an EP called My Own Shadow, and it is so good. I have to say, listening to it, it made me feel like I was in like a David Lynch film or something. And I'm just curious what was going on in your mind at the time when you were making it.
During the pandemic, I did a lot of music and I had a lot of time just sitting in the studio making music for no reason. You know, not for like a remix, not for like a movie, for advertisement, for clubs, whatever, you know, just for my own pleasure. And this for me is like going to a yoga class or going to meditation. And then I had this one track and I called it My Own Shadow. It's a nice project name actually, because I want to open it up to like do whatever I want, not being only like in this box, being Marcel Dettmann from Berlin, stuff like that. So just open it up like being creative like a child, you know, like. But in the end, the main goal as an artist is to find your own way and your own beliefs in your art and in your, like, the way you express yourself, you know, instead of like, okay, copying something or like, you know, saying, okay, this is really successful at the moment, I really like it, I do the same. This is easy, everybody could do this, you know, but I think it's better to say, okay, I like that, but I have my own language and I try to transform it into my own language, you know, like whatever. Could be paintings or pictures or music or a movie or whatever. I made pictures like over the last 20 years. While I was traveling, it's more like patterns, you know, it's not like pictures of people or pictures of buildings or pictures of plants or something like that. It's more like pattern, like something you see on the street, on the wall, in the forest, on the ground, something like that. And then, or some painting, some paint on the street looks like a deer or something like that. And a lot of my friends said, yeah, why are you not showing that to the people? And I said, well, I would never think about it. Like releasing it or like making an exhibition or show that to a bigger crowd, you know, because I just did it for my own pleasure. With music was the same. When I started making music in the late 90s, it was just for my own pleasure. I was never thinking about releasing music because I was 100% DJ and I invest all my money in records. So I play just around with a laptop and some like called Rebirth back in the days, like 303, 909, and Fruity Loops, and then later Ableton and stuff like that. But it was just for fun, you know. And now I start thinking about this picture and said, yeah, I like them and they're cool. And now I need to find the right, paper, the right frame, the right spot to show, or something like that. So that's something I'm working on at the moment and thinking about, you know, like, and then combining it with music.
Art that people make with no intention for it to be seen or received with the audience not necessarily in mind, I think is the purest, because now we're so aware of other people's opinions. And everybody who's making things in this economy is thinking, okay, well, how will this perform? How will it be received? Will it get views? Will it get likes? Will it make money? It's just a necessary factor of surviving, you know, in modern life. But the fact that people can still make the time to just like play, as you said, and draw and like, you know, like
just doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I learned it from my kids actually, with the My Own Shadow thing, that like being creative, just doing, no pressure, no, that's what I mean, you know. I hate timelines. I even hate time planners, like time, like
calendars,
like calendars.
Deadlines, yeah,
deadlines and stuff. I didn't learn that. That's what my wife always said, you know, because this is it's a goal, but it's also like something that is I'm struggling with sometimes because I forgot a lot of things. I don't write them, type them in and stuff, you know. So
wait, is it true also that the image on the cover of the EP is one of your photographs? What is the story of that photograph?
So, and this was in Barcelona, and it was on the street, like a bubblegum or something.
But the fact that you photograph mostly patterns, you said it's very like textural patterns. I mean, for any fan of your music, it will be so obvious that you do that because your music
the same.
is so structural, like you can almost hear the shapes. There's architecture in the music that you play. There's patterns, and like it's such a perfect translation. You like your brain. It's so cool to know that you can do that in multiple mediums. People will be.
Yeah, that's so funny. I was never thinking about it, but I also come to this point where I really realized, oh yeah, of course, it totally makes sense because this is the same way I make music. You know, I hear something. And then it becomes something, you know? So it's not like playing a piano and playing a melody or creating a melody. It's more like adjusting a sound as much as I can or as I want to find something in it, you know?
Something about your story that I've always been very interested about is like your days at Hard Wax when you were working there. What did it feel like to be there in the early days, and how did it shape you?
At some point, they asked me to work there, so it was the biggest day in my life. Really interested in electronic music, let's say all genres, and Hard Wax was always the perfect selector for me, for my taste of music. I remember when we had when this catalog comes to my house when I lived in the suburbs, like an hour from here away, and then this catalog comes up, and then I made some crosses, and then I called them and I said, could you send me this one, this one, this one, this one? So like mail order, you know. I don't had the money and the time because I was in school or after school or whatever, but I can't go there every week, you know. So I've been there once a month or something like that. And then I got there, and then I got a big pile of records. And then later, it was 97, I think, I started a little record store in my mom's house, like in my Kinderzimmer. In the beginning, it was just for my own to buy records cheaper, but then I found out, okay, that don't make sense because you have to buy at least 2 or 3 copies. Being a selector, let's say, for my friends, you know, like for Norman Notch and Marcel Fengler and Answer Code Request and all those guys, they're living in the same city, you know.
Damn, there was something in the water in this city.
And then they come every weekend or let's say come every week, and then we check the records and smoking in my mom's house and stuff like that, and she was freaking out, of course.
The way that we consume music nowadays has greatly devalued it because we just, as you say, like we just click on something and it's there, and it's just, there's no hunt, there's no challenge, there's no wait, there's no excitement, there's no going out of your way. You're not having to like turn your childhood bedroom into a record store to finance your forest raves or, you know, like whatever. You just click, and it's making things have less value.
Back in the days, you have to invest time to get to the record store, to listen to the records, to find out which one is the one for you, and then you have to spend money for it, and then you get home, and it was like magical, you know. I remember the time when we go to Berlin just for 2 records. Yeah, and then I found this like whatever new Robert Hood record, and then I bought it, and then I got home and I put it on the turntable. You know, this was, you can't imagine how magical this moment was, and this is something that fully disappeared actually. I got so many demos and promos and stuff like that, and they had no. You know, you could click, okay, this is not for me, this is not for me, this is not for me. It's like the same if you go to a cheap clothes store, everything is synthetic, and then you go to a good clothes store where you have like good garment and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a really nice comparison.
You know, it looks the same, but it's not feeling the same.
Yeah.
I try to hold this in my heart and in my soul, you know, like this feeling is really important for me as a DJ as well, you know, like really searching hard for good stuff or for music I like to present to the people. And the question I always got from the promoters, what kind of music you play tonight? And I said, yeah, this is it, you know? They don't know. It's like, okay, like you have other DJs that play, okay, they're playing techno. Boom, 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 all night long. Okay, it's fine, cool, yeah. But for me, it's like, it's boring. I would kill myself if I stay there for 3 hours and playing the same music. It's a technical thing, I know. And if you like everybody has a different goal, you know. My goal is more like making some dynamics. For me, it's really important to challenge me as an artist, as a DJ, keep it alive. Back in the days, an LP had some dynamic, and this is the challenge now, because like the label said, we need more clubby, or we need more like for Spotify, a bit shorter and stuff like that. And I said, what? You know, it's like nobody said this to me, but that's what I hear. Like optimizing stuff, it's the killer.
We can talk about how digital made things feel disposable, but now we're on a totally new horizon, which is AI. Everybody's afraid that AI is going to make DJing irrelevant and robots will just DJ due to all of their recommendations and whatever. But I am kind of wondering if maybe taste, human taste, will become even more important. Because, for example, your brain, like what you would select out of various records, like a machine could never do that, right? The surprise element of it. What do you think about this? Are you in a positive or a negative place about AI and DJing in the future?
I'm actually still in a positive way. Like for me, it's like a navigation system, using it as a tool, you know. I think the problem I see is like, because I also did using ChatGPT for like some emails, for example. You know, if my lawyer asked me something and I have no clue about it, I said, okay, Chat, what is it? And then, yeah, okay, got it, please. And then I answer him, you know. And this is a really nice tool for that. But I could imagine if you use it for being creative or optimize whatever you did, you get lost, because there's so many possibilities and you never will be happy, as I told you before. You know, you're looking for perfection, and this is the major problem. That's the reason why I don't want to say that's the devil. It's a nice tool. You have to know how to use it and stuff like that, and I'm sure it's really helpful here and there, but for the creative part, no.
I don't know if you use Spotify, but they now introduce this like DJ function on Spotify where it tells you the BPM of the track, and it will like AI will mix certain tracks together and like just do random AI transitions for you in a playlist. Honestly, you should check it out. It's amusing. Yeah, right.
Also, like, interesting when people ask me, what is the best gear for DJs at the moment? I would say, okay, the best gear for DJs. So if there is someone who is interested in music, that's the first point. Being a DJ.
Genuine interest.
Okay, you want to be a DJ, yeah, but first you have to be interested in music, you know. So what you like, which kind of music you like, or you know, for me it starts like in school, making tapes for several parties. Making tapes for girls, stuff like that, you know. I was not thinking about like being a DJ or something like that. It was just because I love music, and I forced my friends, this is the right shit, you have to listen to this, you know. I was always the guy who was forcing everybody with his music, you know.
I love that. You were the preacher, the music preacher.
Yeah,
everybody gather, listen.
This is shit, you have to listen to this, you know.
True selector.
Yeah. And when I hear this, I want to be a DJ. What kind of tools I need to say? Well, it's really weird. Like maybe get interested in music first, and then thinking about it, and then I could, you know, for example, I would always say, if you invest in a mixer, like some speakers, and 2 turntables, then you know if you want to be a DJ or not. I start slowly for me, you know. I start with turntables without pitching and everything. It was just 2 plastic ones. When the needle was in the end, it got back, you know, like stuff like that. But it was just for like mixing the music. I can't pitch it or whatever. I mixed in when I think, okay, this is the right part, and then at some point I got a better turntable and a better mixer and another much better turntable and a much better mixer. So step by step, you know. So a good friend and a mentor of mine told me, if you get something for free, it's for free. But if you have to pay for it, you know, then it becomes a value, or it worths. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
So this is it. You have to invest.
I was going to show you just quickly. You have a playlist. You can now do this thing where you hit mix, and then it shows you the key, and it also shows you the key.
Wow.
And then let me show you just
It's
fun.
like record box.
But speaking of tools, I mean, this is terrifying, but you are you, and like what you add into your playlist or what you like is, it's whether you're doing it in Recordbox or whether you're doing it in Spotify.
For example,
doesn't really matter.
all this tempo and cue shit and stuff, I don't take care of. Like, is it A, B, C, D, E, F, G? It's like, I think, okay, it's the right moment for this track, I play it, you know.
Okay, so you don't, no mixing in
is
key.
people mixing like with
In key?
In key, oh my goodness. It's so fucking boring, you know? Like there's no dynamic anymore. And maybe on the same tempo and the same key. Wow, beautiful.
Oh my God, wait, so you just like wild out. You just show up and you're
it's like back in the days, I was working in a record store. I had a lot of records. Get home, listen to them, try them out, check them, how something works together, blah blah blah, to get a feeling for the tracks and stuff. So now you do this in, let's say, in record box or whatever, or like listen to it on the phone, or like I have some Bandcamp stuff and things like that, just checking, and then you listen to it, and then you say, okay, this is something interesting, and then you put everything in one folder, and the folder called, for example, Fabric. I played this weekend in Fabric, so I have a folder for Fabric. Now it's like 300 tracks, so I have to minimize it to, let's say, 100 tracks, because 300 tracks is too much for me. I get lost. If you like having this 100 tracks or 150, let's say, then you know, okay, maybe the first track, and then maybe you know which track could be the last one, for example, and the rest is just, you know. But sometimes I also try to see, okay, what, like especially the new tracks, how they work and stuff, and then I check them in Recordbox and stuff like that. But you could prepare. You could be prepared as much as you want. You get in a club, you think, no.
It's
totally
always
different.
an experiment, isn't it? Kind
It
of?
is, yeah, and also like playing a hard techno track. For me, a hard techno track is, let's say, 132 BPM. So just to let you know.
That's how we're defining it.
Hard is not the tempo. Hard is like the sound, you know,
The
like
instrumentation,
the distortion or
isn't
whatever.
it?
And after that, you play really deep, like emotional house track, you know? Everybody would say, no, that's not possible. But why is that not possible? It's kind of a feeling, you know? Sometimes it works, sometimes maybe not, but this is all about like having this dynamic and having this, like, try to experiment. And if I don't do that, I'm really, oh shit, this was not good today, you know?
Wow.
So I'm always forced myself to do that. I have a nice story because these days I have to clean up my studio because I'm moving to another room, and today and it starts in the morning with my wife because we are both huge Kate Bush fans, you know. And I said, okay, play Kate Bush, and then Kate Bush comes up, and when I was in the studio, I put several Kate Bush records on, and I was listening the first 3 hours today only through Kate Bush stuff, and it gives me this dynamic, like crying, being happy, like, you know, I love that. It's so beautiful, you know. And this is what music means to me.
I always ask DJs at the end that if this were a real after hour, you know, and I said, okay, people are coming over, let's get the party started. What would you play if I gave you the aux?
I would actually, first of all, I was checking the sound system you have. And then I will decide, okay, is it a good sound system? The sound system is not good, you know, you miss a lot of parts of the track, you know.
And this
so
is
you have to focus.
Marcel Dettmann.
You have to focus on different music then, let's say.
There you have it.
That works on a small radio speaker or something, you know.
Well, I'm not going to show you my sound system because you would judge it. Yeah, you're not going to be proud of my speaker. So
anyway, but thank you so much. That was.
You're welcome.